The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised.
All right, thank you for tuning in. This is E. You're listening to Am I Mental? It's a mental health live podcast with real people sharing real experiences with their mental health. With us, as usual, is the co-host KZ. Go ahead and today's guest we have is Sean. He actually went ahead and wanted to use his first name. So go ahead and say hi, Sean. It happens. So yeah, a little chaotic start today, but anyway, so we got Sean on with us, and Sean, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, what your condition is, and what we're going to be talking about. All right, so we don't have the best connection. You're skipping a lot right now. We may have to reconnect, maybe, with the audio only. Yeah, KZ, are you getting a lot of skipping too? All right, so let's just try to keep going here, Sean, for a little bit. If this doesn't work out, we'll just contact you right back without the video. Nobody else gets to see the video. Sorry, guys. All right, so antisocial personality disorder. I mean, what is that exactly? Hey, Sean. Sean, Sean, I hate to interrupt, but right now in the chat we're getting that you are like completely inaudible. So let me try reconnecting with you, just audio. How's that sound? All right, and I'm gonna have to end this, so I'll have to get right back with you as well, KZ. All right. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so sorry about that. I'm setting this back up right now. Let's see. Can I do audio only? Let's try that. All right, so there's Sean, and KZ. All right, so now we got Sean and KZ again. Go ahead and say hi one more time. I am. Yeah, you sound better on my end. I'm just seeing what the chat says. It's they're the ones listening on the website live or through their apps. There's a little bit of a delay. Nothing at all. Wow. Okay. Let me see something here. Did my audio... Oh! Alright, so... I just figured out what's going on there. Alright, go ahead and say hey, KZ. Go ahead and say hey, Sean. Maybe now they can hear you.
Hey, guys.
Go ahead and say hi, Sean.
Hey, how are you guys?
There was actually a setting I just found that was a little bit off.
Oh, slacker.
It didn't save between uses. That's a problem. I'm going to have to check that out. All right, they can hear you now. So let's go ahead and start over with the intro, Sean.
All right. I suffer from antisocial personality disorder, which is a disorder. I don't know why I'm blanking again here. Sorry about that. It's a disorder where I suffer from a lack of empathy, lack of responsibility, a lack of feelings, lack of remorse, lots of things like that. Over the years, I've done some messed up things. I have issues with controlling my temper and lashing out over the smallest of things.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
It's definitely a problem. And I got diagnosed actually probably maybe 15 or 16 years ago. I got an actual diagnosis from a psychiatrist on that. Growing up with the life I did, I came from a very abusive family. There was problems if you showed any sort of emotion with my family. So if it wasn't anything but anger and hate coming out of them or coming out of us, it was a problem. And that problem was dealt with in a not so good way. So
would it be safe to say that when you say it in a not so good way, like a physical abusive kind of way?
Yeah, absolutely, in a physical way, in an abusive way. In a you have to man up, this is what a man is kind of way.
Ouch.
Yeah. So, over the years, like I said, I've done some things and never really affected me mentally. Any physical altercation I've ever got into was probably the only feeling that came out of that was one of accomplishment.
Oh,
like I just did something really, really good at that time. And I've been struggling with it for years to actually keep myself on a good plane. Like this isn't what I do anymore. I get very angry very fast, and I have mental visions of what I want to do and what I can do and what I know I can do. But I have to fight more so to not act upon those desires than ever before. With this disorder, you can be highly successful and active, and I've opened my own business. I own my own business. I employ my own a bunch of guys, and it's become very successful, mainly because part of my disorder is being able to manipulate people. And I can manipulate people to do what I need to do to get them to agree to what I want to agree, what I want them to agree to.
Got it.
And not to take away from the fact I'm really good at what I do for a living, so I don't want to take away from that. But
right, I mean, you still have to deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to deliver.
So,
But when I started this business, I would just say, yeah, I can do it. And I would make people believe that I could do anything I said I could do. But then I found out that, I really can do this. I am really good at this. And from there on, I've been able to put up 10,000 square foot houses for clients and 15,000 square foot houses for clients. So yeah, I'm good at what I do. I can make my subcontractors do what I want to do. And that's probably the most positive part of my disorder is
right.
being able to manipulate for a good way, I guess you could say.
Right. So basically, what you're kind of saying is that, yeah, you can. Where some people would say maybe it's motivation, you're like, look, I flat out admit it. I manipulate them. I say what they need to hear or what they want to hear, and they get done what I need them to get done. In the end, I deliver a product.
Exactly.
At least you're not taking advantage of people. That would be probably all too easy.
I have taken advantage of people, absolutely. I struggle not to do that because it's very simple to do that. But I don't want to do that. I'm trying so hard to live what most would classify a normal life.
All right. So
That
I was just gonna say Jennifer Ray is on here, and one thing that she did ask is, about when you got your diagnosis. How did you feel after you got your diagnosis?
I didn't. It didn't matter to me. I didn't care.
And that's going to be really alien for a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I can relate it to this. People get sad over things. That's an alien feeling to me. I don't know what it's like to be sad over things. I don't know what it's like to watch commercials of starving children in Africa and actually feel bad for what they're going through. I look at that and I say, hey, that's life. It is what it is. There's no guilt, no feeling of anything towards anything like that.
Right. And I mean, obviously, there's going to be the stigma with that some might say that you're heartless, you don't care, whatever. And, I've known you for not too long, but I've known you for a little while. And I would have to say that that's just not necessarily true. Just because you don't have the capacity to feel it does not make you good or bad. It just doesn't impact you. That's all.
It does. Correct. I like to think I'm not a bad person. I'm a person who's done bad things. I had for a long time a drug habit, a pretty bad drug habit. There's not a drug that I didn't like. So during that time, things even got worse when I was younger. When I was younger and up until maybe 10 years ago or so, maybe a little after that, I was a bad person. I did bad things. It is what it is. I'm not going to, I can't deny that.
And we're not here to talk about what you did do, but we're talking about more how it impacted your life. So we don't need to go over any specifics of what you did.
No, that'll never happen. But impacted my life. I appreciate it because I think it brought me to where I am in life, and I'm in a good place right now. I have a good job. I have a very good wife who understands what I'm going through and is understanding of what I go through. And I don't know if that's what I really needed throughout the years, was someone that could understand and be there for me when I need them, when I'm at my worst. When I come home and I had a shitty day and she's like, look, I get it. I'm going to give you your space. I'm going to go do my thing. I'm just going to leave you alone. And most people don't do that. They want to talk about it and they want to why did this happen? Why do you feel this way? And that's not for me to do. I don't talk about my feelings per se, or what led up to me being so angry that day. So she knows how to deal with that.
Right.
And it takes a special person to be able to do that.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, we talked for like an hour and a half last night.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's amazing. Seriously. She is like, it sounds like she was exactly what you needed when you needed her, to be honest.
And honestly, I think I will credit her for being the big part of why my life is that much better. I still deal with the same stuff every day. It never goes away. I deal with it every day. But I think I have a better coping mechanism now. I was able to learn a better coping mechanism to be a better person, to do all the things that I'm supposed to do, to take care of all the things I'm supposed to do. Because, before finding that coping mechanism, I was very, very irresponsible. Again, things didn't matter. Get in trouble with the cops all the time over stupid things. And I don't know if it's also, I've grown up a lot too, like age-wise. So I don't know if that's got something to do with it, but yeah, there's a much better coping mechanism. And
Right.
The thing is there's a huge stigma related to this, that if someone, if you meet someone like me, you're automatically assuming, wow, the worst of this person's got to be so messed up. But there are a lot of people with this disorder that are highly functional, that can make it through life. But you have to find that skill or drive to want to be like that. And sometimes it takes some time, but you can be as normal as anybody else and live your life the same as anybody else.
I mean, a part of what we talked about last night that you told me was that it is so easy for you to go wrong and not care. Like, you could go on a violent rampage and make the evening news nationally with ease, but to run your company and have employees and have your clients and be successful, that's the real challenge.
I'll tell you what, today one of my guys decided 8 o'clock this morning to text me, which 8 o'clock is when we start. I just woke up, dude. I can't come in. The anger that went through me today was absolutely intense. And it would have been, if he was there, I probably would have lost it. But it was much harder to go on with my day and not give up on my day today because of something that little. That's normal for a business, but I was just beyond seeing red, angry over the stupidest thing.
The fact that you can identify that it's stupid is a good thing, though.
It's taken time, but yeah, I recognize what some of the stuff is, and it is stupid.
So Jennifer Ray has been asking a couple of questions here. Like one of them, regarding the lack of empathy, are you ever in a position when you get into a conflict with someone and you say to yourself, how come they can't see how that affects me?
Because we live in a society that really is selfish, honestly. Everybody's worried about them. Nobody's worried about anybody else.
I could see that too. I mean, a lot of people care about their friends, but let's face it, a lot of people don't care about people they don't encounter regularly. Like, you may know your next door neighbor, but do you really know the person that lives like 4 or 5 houses down from you? And do you care?
No, I really don't care. And then, honestly, I prefer they stayed away from me. Even my neighbor, I have a nice neighbor. He's an older guy, and he's a nice guy. But I dread every time he wants to talk to me. Like, I don't want to be bothered. I just want to be left alone. I don't want to sit outside and have a 15-minute conversation with my neighbor. I can't do it. I don't want to do it.
And also, Jennifer Ray asked another question, which actually kind of segues into something I was hoping that we could touch on as well, which she said is, have you built any relationships or even wanted to form friendships with people with your same disorder? And you were saying that guys could spot each other, almost like you guys have a scarlet letter that only you guys could see.
I do have friends with my disorder, yeah. We do, we don't talk about any of it, but yeah, I know people, and I've known people for years with the same disorder, and it is absolutely transparent from one to the other that we have this disorder.
Like I said, the scarlet letter that only you guys could see. You guys could spot each other a mile away.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which, I mean, I think that that's probably pretty cool, so that way you guys can be like, okay, I'm not alone. And I'm sure your friendships are pretty distant and don't talk a lot based on what you're saying.
Right. Very distant. After my day is done with work, I don't see anybody else. I don't work on weekends. I don't see anybody else. That's, besides my wife. I can't leave her out of it. That's just the way it is. Because I don't want to be around anybody else. I don't want to go out to dinner with friends. I don't want to go to the movies with a friend. I don't want to do any of that. I don't enjoy doing any of that.
Which is why it's really special that you were actually the first person to volunteer to be a guest on my show. Just goes to show that, as you said, this is important to you to get out, but I'm sure internally you're not actually looking forward to this. You probably didn't want to do it if you had your own, if it was just for yourself, if it wasn't to get it out there because you felt like you needed to get it out.
Well, I feel like I need to get it out because there is that stigma that anybody with this is automatically a psychopath. And I don't think it's going to be too fair for others to have to go through that. Like, I'm starting to allow myself to grasp just how fucked up this whole thing is and how people shouldn't really have to deal with it. I mean, it is what it is. People are going to deal with what they're going to deal with. You're going to get bullied, which growing up, that's probably another reason why it went to the extremes that it did. But honestly, it is what it is. You're going to have to deal with that on your own. But people need to know that this is not the end of the world, that there are millions of us out there, and you just don't know it.
Right, and you were also talking about how you were able to see a personality on TV or something like that, and you could talk to your wife and be like, oh yeah, this person absolutely did whatever it is they're being accused of, or no, not even possible, just at a glance, and usually you're right.
Usually I'm right. Yeah, there's been a few times, and it's funny too because they say animals pick up on different personalities and who's good and who's bad, and a lot of times my dog will pick up on those same people that I'm pointing out. Like, there's something, this guy's got a problem. There's definitely, stay away from him, and my dog will go nuts when he sees them. That, and then the wife, she'll be like, yeah, you told me this, and you're right. So it's weird.
Right, and it's like a lot of people dog people might turn around and be like, oh, well, dogs are really good at reading your face or your emotions. Well, I mean, you don't have the emotions. You don't have the tells that a dog could pick up on. The dog would have to figure it out on their own.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird too. They do pick up on it on their own, and it just kind of reconfirms that whole thing too. Like with her, our landscaper, which we no longer have, had definitely had an issue. And I picked up on it, and so did the other guy. And yeah, he has an issue. I'm not going to get into detail, but he had an issue.
And I assume that it was confirmed.
It was confirmed, yeah. And when I say he's not with us, I mean he's not my landscaper anymore. Nothing more than that.
Yeah, no, you've been working really hard to make sure that you live what is considered a socially acceptable and good life. I really doubt when you say that they're no longer with us that you meant that, beyond the pale. I assumed you fired them.
Yes, but I just want to make that apparently clear.
So, KZ, anything you got to add in here or ask? Or
I was just gonna, you were talking about your wife and how she's a good match for you, and just from my personal experience going through multiple marriages and stuff, and finally, I'm pretty sure I've got my person. Having the right person can make all the difference in the world.
Yeah, well, I'm divorced. I have an ex-wife who would bring out the worst in me time and time again. And she was a very, very toxic person and not a good fit. Like, I need someone in my life that can show emotion and that can care for other people and want to care for other people. And that's her.
Yeah.
Basically someone to make up for what you lack.
Right. I need that someone, because in a time of stress for me, she calms me down. And I need that. And I think without that, my life would be completely different than what it is right now. And, I don't want to put all of the burden on her, but I got to call it like I see it. And she does make me a better person. So to have that in your life, to have that person that can pick up on where you're lacking is a big help.
I mean, it kind of sounded like when we were talking, and you can correct me, of course, if I'm wrong, and I hope you do. It seems like if the world was burning, you wouldn't bother to piss on it, and your wife would be out there doing everything she could to stop the fire.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But there was one thing you told me that about your wife that you've never felt about anybody else.
I care for her. She's the first person in my life. My family, there is no emotion for any of them, and I don't have anybody else in my life that I've actually had any sort of attraction to or feeling for. And this is odd for me to have that for the first time in my life. I married my ex-wife because everybody told me it was the right thing to do. It would never have happened if people didn't tell me this is, in life, this is what people do. This is what you're supposed to do. I wouldn't have done it. I had no reason to. I had no care to. But I did it anyway because I thought that's the socially acceptable thing to do, and this is what people do.
Right. You didn't do it under your own volition, per se. You did it under being pressured to do it.
Yeah.
But
by my family, her family, her. Yeah.
But this wife, you told me flat out, you would die for her. You would take a bullet for her.
Absolutely would.
That's big.
And yeah. I owe her more than she'll ever understand. I owe her because she's helped me. I didn't start my business until after we got together, and she's probably the reason why I did, because she gave me a reason to better myself, to want more, to do more. I was fine just flying by the seat of my pants, and whatever happened.
And you want to maybe go a little bit about like when you first started realizing these feelings. How did it impact you, considering you'd never felt them before?
Very confusing. It's not something that I understood. So it was the most confusing time in my life to figure out what the hell that was actually going on, and to try to understand how for 30 plus years of my life everything was one way and then quickly started to change. Nothing in my life ever changed.
Well, I mean,
But
if you had no emotions, I can imagine that things just kind of stay that way.
very stagnant, it doesn't change. And then to sit there and say, wow, there's nothing I wouldn't do for this person. What the hell is that? What is that? This makes no sense to me. But I've learned to accept that I can have these feelings for a person. And yeah, it's the same as it's a happy feeling, which is foreign, just the same to me. So, yeah.
So Jennifer asked, is there a treatment for this disorder? And if there is, are you interested in exploring it?
Well, there's no treatment, but medication, and no, I don't care to explore it.
I kind of figured as much. Now, there was one thing you also mentioned, which was how even as you try so hard to be this, honestly, an amazing, upstanding citizen, which I have no doubt in my mind that you are, but just the smallest little things that you'll just go ahead and just drop a lie just because you can.
Just because I can. Yeah. I don't know if it's because I can. There's no thought behind it. It just happens. Like, I'm not thinking, I'm going to lie to this person about this.
Right. Well, I mean, give it like that example you gave me about you're coming home from work, you got something to eat.
Yeah. Wife says I cooked dinner, and I'm like, yeah, I don't feel well. Not I just got something to eat. It's I don't feel well. And I can realize how, after it happens, being like, why did I do that? I didn't need to do that. I could have just been like, I was starving and I ate something on the way home. I couldn't help it. I was too hungry. No, I'm sick. I eat anything. There's no need for it. I don't think about it, but the words just come out of my mouth.
So it's like an impulse control thing.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like you're busy in the background too, doing something.
That's my dog in the back there.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah, she's wanting my attention, and it's like, not right now. Come on,
we've got like 12 minutes left.
Right.
But no, just like I said, that conversation we had last night, I got a real good insight, and I mean, I would love to hang out with you sometime, kick back a couple of beers, and just shoot the shit.
Maybe one day we can do that.
Although
I promised her to go back to California. She hasn't been there in years, so maybe,
Yeah, well, I'm out here, and yeah, you are definitely invited. Come play with my yellow lab for a little bit too.
You will see a very socially awkward person. Like, I can do this over the phone with you. I can talk to you over the phone, but face to face is completely different. I become very socially awkward. I do not know how to act when I'm around other people, like in that.
Well, I figured that we would just hang out in my house. You don't have to go out in the public. Make it a little easier for you.
No, I mean, I literally mean as one-on-one conversation. Over the phone is totally different. It's not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not intimate. But when I get around people face to face, I become socially awkward, which is weird. Yeah.
So, Jennifer,
this isn't personal. face to face is personal. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. It sets a whole different pressure, a whole different scenario.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah,
So Jennifer was saying, I know you said you don't experience a lot of feelings, but have you ever wished that you didn't have this disorder?
never really thought about it, honestly. This is life for me. And no, I mean, I look at everything, or I try to look at everything as a learning experience as well. Even going through heavy drug use, I don't regret a moment of that. I don't wish I never did it. It is what it is. I've learned some stuff from it, which I'll never regret learning from all of this. I'm fine with having it. Maybe when I was younger and I didn't understand what was actually going on, why I had the feelings I had, or the thoughts I had. But now, no, I don't. I'm fine with who I am.
And it sounds like you take a real pragmatic view of life.
Yeah, maybe a bit. But it is I'm famous for it. It is what it is. Everything in life is what it is.
And ain't that the truth?
Yeah. Maybe my disorder is normal. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I don't have a disorder. Maybe this is just normal, and everybody else is the awkward one. It can go anyway.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, I could definitely see some advantages to it, but I can also see a lot of real bad happening if everybody had it.
Yeah, if everybody had it, yeah. Oh, it would be the Wild West intensified.
I bet. That person just looked at me funny. Bam! Little did you know they were trying to sneeze and they were trying to look at the sun, not you.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with you. But that's the thing. Everything has to do with me. A little comment's made off in the corner. I'm automatically thinking, what is this person saying about me? I think we have a problem here. Road rages. Oh my God, that's the hard one. Driving. Oh, that one, that's hard to deal with. Even now in life, that one's hard to deal with.
Yeah, I can.
You got to get yourself a programmable LED sign for your car so you can, yell at them as you're driving past.
When I was younger, I used to have a little plastic gun in the car. They shot the little plastic BBs.
Right.
And that was the way to feel better, because I would just shoot at their car as they were driving by. It almost got me in trouble a couple of times.
Oh, I bet.
I would imagine, yeah.
But it was the one thing that kept me from actually ramming that car off the road. So, yeah, I'll take that over the alternative any day.
Well, yeah, I mean, plastic BBs over bullets any day when it comes to something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think that's the big thing in life, too. I recognize the stupid in my actions, and that's a big thing, too, to recognize that, all right, so I've accepted where I am in life and realize, okay, this is who I am. When I was able to accept and realize that my actions were dumb, also helps me to be where I am and who I am right now.
Right. I mean, because as you said, you see everything as a learning experience. And
yeah.
If you're not learning, then you're lying to yourself.
Absolutely. And I'm the one person I will not lie to. The only person I will not lie to.
And unfortunately, it's so easy to lie to yourself for pretty much anybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jennifer Ray says that it's been interesting to hear your insights because a really close friend of hers shares so many characteristics of what you're describing. And A just joined in a little bit late, and I had to let him know we were talking about antisocial personality disorder. And they're actually eager to re-listen from the beginning, but they're with us right now, so definitely they're going to participate now.
Nice. Please ask any questions anybody wants to. I'm going to be an open book about this right now.
And we only got about 4.5 minutes left.
Okay.
So now's the time to start firing in your questions. I mean, so here's a question. When you do have to go out into public beyond your job, like what kind of coping skills do you employ, like maybe to prep yourself to go out and while you're out, and ways to decompress afterwards?
You know, TV and, hate to say it, Twitter is a huge decompression for me. I get to be such an asshole to people on Twitter, and I love it. That makes me feel so much better at the end of the day.
I'm laughing because I do the same thing on Twitter.
It's really what it should be there for. We should just all be assholes to each other. That's why it's there.
I mean, but you see what I do on Twitter?
Absolutely, man. You see what I do, too. I was kind of on a roll tonight. Oh, man. But to answer I don't really prepare myself for. I just kind of expect that somebody's going to piss me off. Somebody's going to do something fucking stupid to me. And I'm going to try to, not say or do anything. But I've embarrassed the hell out of my wife in the supermarket many times.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it sucks. And, I recognize that this is hard on her. So I try to, internalize a lot of it and really not say or do anything stupid. But it gets to a point where I can no longer internalize it, and out comes the other side of me.
Right. And then Jennifer Ray asked, do you have any fondness for animals? Your pity is such a sweetie.
I do. Oh, he's an American Bulldog.
Oh, American Bulldog, even better.
Yeah, I've never. All right. I fucking hate cats. Let's be honest about this. I hate cats. Dogs, I absolutely adore dogs. I've never once ever abused an animal. A dog. I've kicked a few cats, but that's been the extent of it. But I do like animals quite a bit. I like them so much more than people.
All right, so A is just wanting to, so they're trying to get a quick recap here. They're saying when you mentioned that you don't feel or have normal emotions, does this mean that you don't have the ability to empathize with other human beings?
Zero empathy. What happens in people's lives, traumatic things that happen in people's lives don't affect me. Death does not affect me. When a person dies, I don't understand why so many people grieve over that. To me, it's end of life is end of life. That's it. It's over with. I don't empathize with widows or any of that. No, I don't know how to.
And Jennifer Ray was saying that, about, we were talking about being on Twitter and how we could be brutal. She's like, yeah, I know you can be brutal. Good thing I know you have a profound sweetness. I mean, I love people. I do. I hate willing ignorance. I can't stand it.
That's a trigger for me. Willing ignorance is an absolute trigger for me.
All right, so yeah, we got to wrap it up here. So thank you very much, Sean, for showing up. Everybody that's listening, please join us on Facebook, facebook.com/mentallivecast. We will be putting up some polls here pretty soon. We're winding up our season, and we would absolutely love to get some feedback and let us know how we can do better. Again, thank you, Sean. Thank you, KZ. Catch you guys.
Definitely.
Catch you guys next week.
All right, bud. My pleasure.